This one happened on what was supposed to be the easiest family trek day we ever planned. A well-known ridge trail, maybe 4 miles round trip, popular enough that we figured we'd see other families out there too. It was me, my stepdad Warwick, and my little cousin's babysitter turned honorary family member, DZ, who'd been coming on treks with us for years at that point. The trailhead parking lot was oddly empty for a Saturday. "Maybe everyone's doing the lake trail instead," Warwick said, shrugging it off. About 1.5 miles up, we came across a car pulled off onto the shoulder of a service road that crossed the trail. Doors closed, engine off, headlights on, even though it was broad daylight. "Maybe they left in a rush and forgot," Des said. "Or the battery's just weird." We kept walking, but it nagged at me the whole next stretch. I couldn't shake the feeling that something about that car was wrong. Not just someone made a mistake wrong, but wrong in a way I couldn't name yet. Near the ridge overlook, there's a spot where the trail narrows along a drop-off, maybe 20 feet down to a rocky slope. That's where we saw him. A guy standing right at the edge, not looking at the view, but facing the trail, waiting. He wasn't dressed for hiking. Jeans, dress shoes, a jacket zipped all the way up despite it being warm out. "He's probably just resting," Warwick muttered, though his voice didn't sound convinced of it either. As we got closer, the guy started counting. Out loud, slow, deliberate numbers, like he was timing something. 14, 15, 16. He wasn't looking at a watch. He was looking at us. Des grabbed my sleeve. "We're going around him," she said under her breath, and we shifted to the far edge of the trail, right along that drop-off, trying to put distance between us and him. He kept counting as we passed. 20, 21. Never louder, never softer. Just steady. We'd gone maybe 15 feet past him when the counting stopped mid-number. Just cut off. And then we heard him start moving. Fast, gravel scattering, coming up right behind us. Warwick didn't even look back to check. He just grabbed both of us by the arms and full-on sprinted the narrow section of trail, which, with a drop-off on one side, was genuinely terrifying to do at a dead run. I remember stumbling once, catching myself on a root, Des practically hauling me back up by my backpack strap. We didn't stop running until we hit the wider part of the trail where other hikers were finally visible again. A family with 2 little kids, completely oblivious, just out for a normal walk. The second we were in view of other people, the footsteps behind us stopped. We didn't look back to check who it was or if he was even still following. We just kept moving, fast, until we hit the parking lot and threw ourselves into the car. We didn't call anyone. Warwick said it himself in the car, still catching his breath. What do we even say? A guy was counting near a hiking trail? We just didn't have anything solid enough to report, and honestly, we didn't want to go back near that ridge long enough to try. To this day, I still don't know what he was counting, or why, or what would have happened if that other family hadn't shown up right when they did. That trail completely ruined ridge hikes for me. Family Trek Day still happens every year, but we stick to trails with real foot traffic now, the kind where you're never the only ones out there. Every year, my family does what we call Family Trek Day. It's not fancy, just my dad, my older brother Colton, my Aunt Wren, and me hitting a trail none of us have done before. That year we picked the Whitlock Ridge Loop, about 2 hours from home. It's an 8-mile trail with a reservoir about halfway through, and honestly, it looked pretty tame on the map. We got there around 8 a.m. My dad was complaining about the parking fee the whole time, which, if you know my dad, is basically tradition at this point. Colton had his GoPro strapped to his chest like always, and Wren brought a thermos of coffee that she refused to share, which, fair enough, it was her thermos. The first 3 miles were completely normal. Pine trees, a couple of dog walkers, one guy jogging with earbuds in. Nothing sketchy at all. Then, right around the reservoir, we hit a fork in the trail that wasn't on the map we'd printed out. 2 paths, no sign, no markers. and standing right at the split was a man, just standing there. Not hiking, not resting, not looking at his phone. Just standing at the fork, facing the water. Maybe he's waiting for someone, Ren said. Or he's lost, my dad said. I'll ask him which way loops back. Colton grabbed Dad's arm. Let's just take the left path, man. It's probably fine. We took the left path. As we passed, the man turned his head, not his body, just his head, and watched us the entire time we walked by. Nobody said anything to him, and he didn't say anything to us. It quickened my heartbeat a little. Not gonna lie, but I figured maybe he was just waiting on friends who were running behind schedule. People do weird stuff on trails all the time. About 10 minutes later, Colton looked back through his GoPro footage on the little screen, just messing around, and said, "Hey, isn't that the same guy?" He rewound it. The man wasn't at the fork anymore. He was on our path, maybe 80 yards back, walking at exactly our pace. Not gaining, not falling behind, just matching us. He's probably just hiking the same loop, Ren said, but she said it fast, the way people talk when they're trying to convince themselves. We kept walking. Every time Colton checked the footage, the man was there. Same distance, same pace. Never closer, but never gone either. We started walking faster. He sped up too. That's when my dad, who is not a small guy, said, "Okay, we're not doing this," and we full-on jogged the last mile and a half back toward the parking lot. I heard footsteps behind us the entire way, crunching gravel, staying steady even as we sped up. I didn't look back. I couldn't make myself do it. We got to the car, Colton fumbling the keys so bad he dropped them twice, and Ren was already yanking the back door open before the car had even unlocked all the way. My dad peeled out of that parking lot like we were being timed. We never saw the man's face up close. We never called the rangers, because honestly, what would we even say? A guy was walking behind us on a public trail. To this day, none of us have gone back to Whitlock Ridge and Family Trek Day pics paved, crowded state parks now. Safe to say, we're not doing remote loops anymore. My family's Family Trek Day usually ends with a cookout, but that year my Uncle Desh suggested we push further than usual and hike out to an old fire lookout trail near his property, one that supposedly connected to a state easement. It was me, my mum, my cousin Priya, and Desh. 4 of us, one trail, no real plan beyond let's see where it goes. About 2 miles in, we passed an open gate. Just a rusted metal gate, unlocked, hanging open on a dirt access road that branched off the main trail. There was a private property sign on it, half fallen over, paint peeling. "Somebody probably just forgot to lock it," Desh said. "Or somebody's expecting company," Priya said, only half joking. We kept to the main trail, but about a half-mile past the gate, through the trees, we spotted a cabin. Small, wood-sided, and this was the sketchy part. There was smoke coming from the chimney, but every window was covered from the inside with what looked like blankets or cardboard, not curtains. Blankets. Maybe they just really value privacy, my mum said, which, looking back, is a very trying to talk myself out of being scared thing to say. We stood there a little too long, honestly. Priya wanted to get closer to see if there was a car in the driveway, which, in hindsight, was a terrible idea. But curiosity got the better of her. She walked maybe 30 feet off the main trail toward the tree line for a better angle. That's when a man came around the side of the cabin. He didn't yell, didn't wave, didn't do anything a normal person does when they see hikers near their property. He just stood there, in the open, staring directly at Priya, not blinking as far as I could tell from that distance. Just watching her. Priya froze. We all did, actually. A sudden feeling of dread came over me, and I remember grabbing my mum's sleeve without even thinking about it. "Priya," Desh said quietly. "Walk back. Slow." She started walking backward, still facing him, and he took one step forward, just one, then stopped. We didn't run yet. We power walked, the kind of fast walk where you're pretending you're not panicking, but your legs are basically doing a light jog. Nobody spoke until we'd put a good quarter-mile between us and that gate. Then we heard it. A door slam, hard, back toward the cabin, and what sounded like someone moving fast through brush. Not on the trail. Through the woods, parallel to us. That's when the pretending stopped. We ran. Desh grabbed Priya's arm and basically dragged her the last stretch to where the trail met the main access road. My mum was crying by the time we got to the car, more from the adrenaline than anything else. We didn't wait around to see if anyone came out of the trees behind us. We just left. We called the county sheriff's non-emergency line once we had signal, mostly because Desh felt guilty not reporting it. They said they'd send someone to check the property line but never followed up with us, and none of us pushed it further. We didn't want to know more than we already did. To this day, I still don't know if that man lived there, if it was even his cabin, or what he was doing with covered windows and smoke going in the middle of the afternoon. That trail is completely off the list now. Family Trek Day sticks to marked, ranger-patrolled parks these days.